I accidentally burned through my entire week's worth of usage, like a couple of prompts. I was like, "What?" And so I upgraded to the max plan. All right, we are back for another episode. A little break last week. Apologize for that. Had some things to take care of, but a lot of things have been going on, especially this week. Let's see, what do we have? We had a couple of big earnings in Intel, Tesla. Say are the biggest ones this week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And of course, I guess the latter half of our segment is about AI. So a lot of Anthropic news out this week, and then there's some investments, some new products. I wish this one was very timely, as it addressed one of like the biggest things I've encountered as far as kind of like a solo vibe coder. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There we go.
Yeah, and what you're alluding to is we'll talk about later, but Claude Design, I have a lot to say about it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. But anyways, let's start with earnings. Earnings season's kicked off. Netflix is the first to always kick off tech earnings, at least, and it's something that I was watching since I was heavy into Netflix before it started declining, and the TLDR has declined even more. So I actually have a buy like target at around like $91, hoping to reload because I actually sold off 60% of the stock when it after earnings when it started declining, and so I'm trying to get back in. But let's see, stock. Netflix is the quiet execution monster. So what actually happened is subscriber growth beat expectations. The ad-supported tier is scaling faster than expected, meaning more people, especially in this economy, don't want to pay the premium for no ads, and so their ad-supported tiers is keeping customers around. Their pricing power is holding up, and margins are slowly steadying.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest news, though, or the biggest reason why the stock went down is because even though they provided a strong forward guidance and they beat earnings, most of the earnings beat was because they didn't have to spend the money to acquire Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And the
So
breakup
basically,
fee, right?
yeah.
The
Oh,
breakup
sorry,
fee.
the what fee?
The wasn't there like a breakup fee that they also got from Paramount?
Yeah, they got a breakup fee. They didn't have to spend the what was it like? Was this 40 billion, 7 billion, something like
I
that?
forget, but yeah, it was something absurd.
Tens
But
of
yeah, like
billions.
50, 60 billion, something like that.
They didn't have to spend that this quarter to buy Warner Brothers, and so if you take that out of the equation, Netflix's earnings was actually kind of flat or even down a little bit. So that's why the market kind of panicked on Netflix. However, they did provide strong guidance going forward. And I mean, I don't know how much you watch Netflix. I watch a lot of Netflix. Sometimes it can get overbearing, but I've noticed that they've been experimenting with a lot of different types of media now. They've had games, but they're emphasizing games. They're doing live media. One of the first live things they did was, I think, like The Bachelor, or not The Bachelor, Love is Blind reunion or something that kind of
Really?
didn't do well, but they've started experimenting with sports and other live media formats. And so they're really becoming like the next Comcast or the next cable television. I still think YouTube TV is a bit supreme in terms of like cable like offering, but Netflix can get there.
The only thing Netflix needs to add is, well, I mean, maybe this is Spotify, but they've talked about doing podcasts, right? And having more live streaming. I guess if you think like YouTube, live has been a focus to compete with Twitch. And so I expect Netflix to also go down that path, right? But
I want
we'll
to
see.
say they've been experimenting with podcasts. I feel like I've seen it, or maybe audiobooks, but to your point, it's not very clear
Yeah.
what they're doing with podcasts. And they are the Comcast / cable television, but they've got your personalization graph and know what you like. I think for me, it's just, I don't know, it's too much.
Yeah,
I think like it's just too much to think about in Netflix.
yeah, I get overwhelmed now, like looking for things to when I look for things to watch. But price increase, yeah, I keep getting these notices because I guess I've subscribed grandfathered subscriber through Apple when they still did that, and yeah, it's been sending me price increases lately. So or
What is
notifications.
your TV show like suite of apps?
Only Netflix at this point.
Only Netflix.
Netflix, and if I on the occasion I do watch TV, I still have Direct TV streaming.
Yeah.
That's my
Mine
cable
is
fix.
mine's pretty bloated, but the reason is because I get a lot of it for free through my credit cards or even through T-Mobile.
Mm,
Like T-Mobile gives me Netflix
hmm.
and Apple TV, and
Yeah.
then my credit cards give me the Disney suite, like Hulu and Disney,
Wow.
and then I get Walmart Plus through my Amex Platinum,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and then Walmart Plus gives me free like Paramount or something.
Wow,
And then
that's
my
a
other
lot of
credit card,
streaming apps there.
yeah, my other credit card gives me free HBO or something, or like CBS.
Mm,
I've got like all of them pretty much,
right.
but I don't really pay for any of them, which is good.
Mm,
And it's just like for me, it's just point in time, like what's hot is kind of how
hmm.
I watch everything.
Mm. Hey, that's an app idea right there. A better Roku,
A
but you
better
don't
Roku,
but you don't need the hardware.
but you don't need the hardware.
I'm gonna note that down. A
Okay.
better Roku. I'm all about I'm like any idea now. I'm just like, okay, I want to write down the idea because now I can potentially build it myself.
All right. Well, that's Netflix. I think Netflix will get back up to like the what in the next year or two. So I'm just trying to dollar cost average back in and
Hmm.
get it at a lower price. But I'm still in Netflix. It's just not as heavy as I was.
Hmm. Okay.
You want to talk about Intel?
Let's see. Intel earnings. So I want to say so Intel was up like almost 20%. It basically set off I guess the next leg of the semiconductor rally. Man, I'm like a little bit sad about AMD. The thing was like up like people were banking like tens of thousands of dollars on like random call options, which is kind of crazy. Anyways, so Intel earnings were, I've been seeing like back and forth on this. So the earnings were okay, but I think a couple of comments that they made is kind of what set it off. One is, we've been experiencing GPU shortages due to AI, but now the expectation or what Intel was kind of indicating is we're starting to see a CPU shortage going into this. So that's why you're also seeing AMD spike along with a lot of like the chip producers, SanDisk, Micron, basically everybody. ARM got a big boost also. So I guess that's one of the key takeaways. The second one was expanding their kind of like was it expanding their foundry business and hopes and dreams of U.S. independence of Taiwan as being a focal for like these semiconductors. So I mean that was the big one. Like I mean they were revenue was up like 7% year over year. Their forecast for Q2 revenue wasn't really that much higher. It was like 10%, it's like 13%. So yeah, so I didn't think the earnings were that great. I think it was more of like everybody's just looking for the next leg and they're kind of banking it on CPUs being it. So yeah, there we go.
But it went up highly last week. I think like 20% in one day,
Yeah.
25% maybe.
Yeah, almost. It's like broke $80, which is like insane.
In the last month, Intel is up 88%. So if you would have been DCA or even like bought in with, sometime this year, you'd be up almost 100%
Yeah, on Intel.
on Intel. You texted me and I had said that I've been out of Intel. I actually sold all the Intel when it was really declining. It's
Hmm.
because I think like probably late last year, you and I were saying like Intel, can't. It's like
Dead
America
money, yeah.
company. Like no one, Trump is not gonna let it die. And it just felt like it was dying.
Yeah.
So I had to get out. I was like, this is down like I don't know 60%. I can't hold on to it. But our thesis was correct. Wasn't the other news that Elon and Tesla are going to use Intel for their fabrication?
Yeah, going into Tesla earnings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing for Terafab. Apparently, Elon is partnering or plans to partner with Intel to help build that out. and get more CPUs. And
Yeah,
not just CPUs, but Elon is planning to build his own chips.
yeah, he had. So let's go to Tesla earnings then. Yes, Elon Musk had a little bit of had a presentation, I think, like a week or two ago,
Hmm.
talking about Terafab, which is his chip fabrication arm. And it's a good call since, he's trying to build an AI company. AI is dependent on chips. And so he did announce that he'd be tapping into Intel to be their fab maker to make the chips, while Terafab is the ones that design the chips, right? Is that
Hmm.
right way of thinking about it?
Yeah.
Cool. And then leading into their earnings, which was this week, the stock was rising like pretty high. It went from about 340 ish, 350 to 400 in a matter of 3 or 4 days. My portfolio was very happy, but earnings deflated the bubble a bit. Actually, after hours, immediately after hours, when earnings was released for Tesla, it popped like another 6 or 7%.
Hmm.
But then when they actually had the call, it came down mostly because Elon talked about a few concerning points. One is that Optimus is taking longer.
Hmm.
Two, the big one is that he said 4 million Teslas are not going to have full self driving that he promised because they're on hardware 3, which is my car is on hardware 3. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they do have a mitigation plan for that, which is going to cost money.
Supposed
Yeah,
mitigation. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
which is going to cost money, and so that's a concern. And then let's see. Oh, and deliveries are under pressure. They're just showing more signs of slowing growth because their delivery versus their production versus the delivery number was a bit is continuing to grow. I think they said they have like 50,000 or 500,000 maybe. They have a lot of cars that are sitting that are not being delivered. 3 years ago that was not the story. They couldn't keep up
Yep.
with deliveries.
Yep.
Those are all narratives that would cause the stock to decline. It's down about 6% to close the week. Still hovering around 380, which is good. Um, yeah, I mean, with like Tesla, we know it's overvalued. So if you're an investor, it's your investor because you believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the earnings were not great. That the hardware limitation. Yeah, that was a big one. It's not just hardware 3, right? It was also okay. Potentially, you'd also need new cameras because the current
Yeah,
ones
sensors.
on those cars are not. I guess they're not. The fidelity is not good enough for whatever full self driving. So yeah, big bummer for those folks who were banking on the promise. We'll see
But
TBD
here's
how
what
much
I'll
it
say,
costs.
Tony, because I did bank on the promise, and it's not a bummer for me. It's not a bummer, you know why?
Why?
Because he's actually been through this before. He actually did upgrade the chips from hardware 2 to hardware 3,
How much did it
and
cost at that
it was
time?
free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a free upgrade. And I don't know if this one's going to be free again. All I'm saying is, like, I think they will retrofit it.
Mm,
And the reason why it benefits them is because their technology relies on the data, right? And if they're not getting data from 4 million cars to
yeah.
power the
Yeah.
next evolution, then
Yeah.
that's a sunk cost.
Yeah.
And I heard in like another podcast, like they could expect a lot of class action lawsuits because people had bought full self driving
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
And that's how it was sold. Mm.
So I think they will retrofit. Now, how long will it take? I don't know. Will it be free? I don't know. For me as like a hardware 3 user, I'm pretty upset that, you got it this way. As a technologist, it doesn't surprise me. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, take it when it
Wait,
comes.
how old? I feel like you just bought your new Tesla, but it's been like what, a couple of years now?
I bought it 2 years ago, but I bought it used.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Okay.
it's a 2021 model.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Always buy cars used.
Do you?
We should.
I'm always torn. It's like I've seen a couple of points of view. Like one is like, yeah, right. You buy used because then you eliminate that initial depreciation. But on the other hand, I've read like buying new, what you're paying for is not is the repair the repair cost of buying used typically ends up balancing out kind of like that initial depreciation you're trying to avoid. But I think it really depends on the car you're buying, right? 'Cause some cars are just
Yeah.
trash or they break down very quickly.
Yeah. I think buying used EVs, and not necessarily just Tesla, but just EVs in general,
Mhm.
probably have less maintenance like concern, just because there is really no maintenance on these cars.
But so I guess we'll see how it plays out for the rest of this year and whether they can ramp up their Optimus production. Because I forget, Elon promised they'd be rolling out billions of these things in a couple of years. So we'll see. Terafab.
It's
I'm sure
Elon time.
his focus is going to be on SpaceX. So we'll see how that IPO plays out, right? And who knows? Maybe Tesla will be so down in the dumps. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna. We need to have SpaceX, Tesla, be part of SpaceX in order
Yeah, let's
to,
merge the companies.
yeah, to whatever.
Oh, there was SpaceX news this week too. They bought Cursor, or they've made a bid. They've made a commitment to buy Cursor,
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
60
So,
billion.
yeah. So, yeah. Talking about funding. So, yeah. So they basically, terms of the deal is they basically gave Cursor 10 billion in not a line of credit, but like $10 million, 10 billion to help support them, and then access to their compute power. And as part of that deal, there's like a 1 year lock-in period where if Cursor wants to sell itself, they would, is it Tesla or SpaceX? SpaceX would get the first right of offer, which is like 60 billion. Was it 60 billion to purchase to buy them out um, in this 1 year lockup period, and then afterwards, it could be whatever. But yeah, so potentially, SpaceX buys Cursor within the year.
So basically, the way I've heard it positioned is SpaceX bought a 1 year call option on,
Yeah.
on Cursor
Yeah. Uh,
for $60 billion. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Could be a smart move, but
Or
I
for
guess we'll
10
see.
billion. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Let's move on to the next segment. Want to kick us off with a, it's funny, ChatGPT labels it the AI power struggle.
yeah,
Anthropic,
yeah,
Google, Amazon.
yeah, yeah. So this one sent Google and Amazon to, well, it sent Amazon definitely to all-time highs. Google is also back to all-time highs. So yeah. So what is this? So Google is basically adding on to its current or existing 7% stake, and potentially throwing in another, what is it, 10 to 30 billion. I think there's some optionality there into Anthropic. And then Amazon is also adding another, what is this, 5 billion, 5 to 8 billion into Anthropic also. So Amazon makes sense, right? I think, they had tried Minstrel at one point early on, and then they've, like, I haven't heard much about Minstrel lately either, or Minstrel. That's how out
Minstroni. Let's call it
yeah,
Minstroni.
that's how out of the market they are. So I don't even know how to pronounce it anymore. But yeah, so it makes sense for Amazon to kind of like invest in Anthropic. It's always surprising to see Google also, considering they have Gemini. But anyways, yeah. So you can see people are starting to get bigger pieces of the pie within ChatGPT and Anthropic. I guess is hedging their bets to see who ultimately is the big winner. Yeah, I mean that was big news. Anthropic just keeps powering. The good news keeps rolling with Anthropic.
Yeah.
So.
I was watching, I saw this TikTok about this person who was talking about Anthropic's rise and how they overtook ChatGPT in terms of
Mm-hmm.
ARR. And it was pretty crazy because, when OpenAI started going mainstream, Anthropic was probably doing like a billion in ARR.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then just over the years, they've surpassed OpenAI in terms of ARR, and they're doing
Yeah.
like 300 billion or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal. And yeah, some of the major investors in Anthropic, obviously Amazon, Google, Microsoft, also got Nvidia, got Salesforce. Amazon owns about 20% of Anthropic, whilst Google owns about 14%. So I think the loser there is Microsoft, right? Because they actually went all in and OpenAI to start, and then they caught up. But all these companies are double dipping in both companies, obviously. But I've been reflecting lately on ChatGPT, and For one, I don't use it as much anymore, mostly because like my work is all on Claude. But when I do go back every once in a while, chat GPT to ask it, if I don't want to use my Claude tokens, if I want to ask if I have like a quote unquote dumb question to
Yeah.
ask, and I've noticed that they've been putting out a lot of UI changes,
Yeah.
and like my reaction to it is their UI seems very, I don't know, like it's more fun, more social, I guess, looking versus Claude is more like professional
Hmm. Yeah.
enterprise. So that's how I see the companies now diverging a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? I still feel like OpenAI is going for the, what's the best way? Like the Google approach. Like they want to capture both like consumer and come like enterprise, or they're starting to anchor, move, focus more on enterprise, where I feel like before it's like very consumer driven, where Anthropic is, yeah, purely, you can tell they're going directly to enterprise, which is a kind of a good and a bad thing from an Anthropic perspective. If you browse like, I'm just gonna call it Twitter. If you browse Twitter, you can see like they need a product marketer. The way they are making all these changes is just kind of like, this is a very amateur hour. Their price increases, their price changes. Like if you are subscribed to the pro plan, they've been testing removing Claude code in the pro tier, and so you need a max tier. And then you have some random dude on Twitter that works at Anthropics, like saying that we're just testing like 2% of our traffic. We might not do this, and he's trying to explain like the way people are
That
using their
wasn't a random
subscription.
dude. That was their head of growth.
Yeah, see, yeah, they're head of growth. I say random dude because it's like this is like so amateurish how they're doing this, right? So the head of growth is explaining their kind of like reasoning of like, we didn't anticipate the way people would be using their subscriptions, so we have to reallocate and rethink how we are pricing our subscriptions. Like, great way to instill confidence in everybody who is a subscriber to your services, right? And so OpenAI jumped in on this, and it's like, hey, everybody, we aren't planning to remove Codex. It's like Codex will be available to everybody, whether it's, whatever, the cheapest pro plan for them, their $20 plan, it'll stay there. Yeah, and OpenAI's, it's easy ways for OpenAI to just like, hey, come to us. We're not going to cheese you like that, right? And so they launched 5.5 this week also. They launched Image Gen 2, which everybody has been talking about as far as improving. I think that was one of the not drawbacks, but one of the things that was not, it was good, but it could be better. So Image Gen 2 is, uh, you see a lot of people talk about it. It's fantastic, generate ideas,
Oh, yeah,
designs
I'll have
for
to
like
try it.
apps and stuff.
Like I saw that's one of the changes I saw in the app is like they're
Yeah,
pushing it, right? Their image
yeah,
gen.
yeah,
But I haven't really tried it yet. I'm sorry, I'm
yeah,
curious how it compares to Nana Banana.
yeah. But yeah, so OpenAI, it's all firing on all cylinders also, but
Here's what I'll
taking
say
some
though,
time.
about particularly about the OpenAI coming in and be like, oh yeah, we won't do this.
Yeah, for now.
They've done that playbook before, right? With OpenClaw,
Yeah, yeah,
and where's that got them? Like
yeah,
we both the last couple of episodes we've been talking about lately is like OpenClaw kind of sucks now.
yeah,
So I mean, one can see it as a strong play to take advantage.
yeah.
On
Or
the other side, you can
desperation.
or
Yeah,
desperation. Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so we'll see how it go. I think that the biggest one that I guess we wanted to talk about was Claude Design, which is for me, it's filled this gap we talked about in the previous episode, where to me that was like one of the biggest missing pieces I was trying to figure out is the design component of it, where the existing Claude code wasn't great at, ChatGPT wasn't very good at either. And then, yeah, Claude Design launches in beta. Pretty cool. Have you tried it out? I did. I tried it out and I accidentally burned through my entire week's worth of usage, like a couple of prompts. I was like, what? And so I upgraded to the max plan because
Max,
I was like, I couldn't do anything. Like literally 30 minutes, it was all gone. And I accidentally burned through that in like,
they got you, Tony.
they got me. And I burned through my max plan. So I've been waiting at like on the first day. I was like,
Here's where I think you messed up on that.
yeah,
Claude Design, when they launched it, it's a different quota.
yes, It's a different tier. Yeah, different quota plan. Yeah,
Not even a different plan; it's a different quota in
yeah,
general.
different uses. Yeah, they added the line item there, which I didn't notice at the
Yeah, and I don't
beginning.
think they actually like if you go to Max versus Pro. I don't know if it changes. Like I think it's just the same quota for everyone.
No, it does. It changes
Oh, it
between
did.
Pro and Max. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so when you upgraded, you got more quota.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because I also because so like my story is leading up into Claude Design. I was actually building out a vibe design skill for my team
Mm,
because we're short on designers, and so basically I don't have a designer, and I need to
mm,
vibe design my stuff. So I built a vibe design skill that takes in the application front end,
mm,
takes in the style guide, takes in some
mm.
Figma files, and it came
Yes.
out to be pretty good. It was like I would say it was like 85, 90% there.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was doing that, Cloud Design came out. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this is good. I can save
Yeah.
the work. And so we started using it, uploaded all the Figmas and everything. And I ran into the same problem where it's like, okay, I can't use this anymore for another
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like upsetting, I think. And the reason why they did that is because they're trying to see how much it actually burns so that they can make sure the economics are good. And so they can make things more efficient so that it burns less tokens when you're using Cloud Design. Where we are now is it's pretty good. I mean it gets things I'd say 95% of the way there.
Mm-hmm.
There's some obvious things where I've been using it and I'll show it to a dev and it's like, well, this looks wrong, and it's like a fuzzy like icon or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's good. So yeah, it's good. I think it's very useful. Once they increase the quota limits, it'll be more useful.
Mm-hmm.
In parallel, I think Claude Code vibe design skill is probably gonna be better since it's not constrained to some of the things in Claude Design. But for me, where it's been useful is I'll vibe design some hypotheses up because I do a lot of my role is doing a lot of experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll create multivariants of the
Mm-hmm.
hypothesis that I'm trying to test,
Yeah.
and that's pretty awesome because then it also allows me to customize what's on the UI in real time, like through like checkboxes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really cool. Just like the organization of stuff, and I haven't tried it with my startup though, my app. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Yeah.
good point.
That's
I should try
yeah.
it there.
How I yeah, the two things where I find cool is that it actually builds workable prototypes. So I had this one app I another app idea that I've been noodling on. And so far, the best thing I found is that you can give it like a screenshot. So like if you design kind of like the initial look and drop it into Cloud Design, it basically can build out the rest of it for you, right?
Awesome.
And work in a workable prototype. So this other app, I kind of gave it some inspiration of some ideas I came across on X, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, but make these changes, whatever. And it gives me options like how true do you want to stay to the image, how do you want to tweak it, and it basically built out the entire thing, and I could
Yeah.
click through it to like test it out and such. So I found that was pretty cool. Yes,
Maybe
and
I'll try to use it to build out my custom bedtime stories app.
yeah. So I haven't necessarily abandoned the bedtime. I put that one on hold because I couldn't make the economics work. Because I was going through economics and it's like, yeah, it's like 9.99. It wouldn't cover the cost to have AI read the voice. It gets into like then you have to allocate cache stories that have been read. What if somebody reads a new story every time versus reading the same story every time? And it's just like it's spiraled out of control. So that's
What
currently
is the
on
price?
hold.
What is the price that would make it work?
It ended up being like 20-30 bucks.
I was gonna say like 1999 seems like
Could be
a good price. I mean, think about how many books a person buys. One book is $20,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
So yeah, so I'll have to think about it, or maybe like Chat or OpenAI or would release something where it makes it a little bit more economical. Yeah. So as far
what
as like
model? I mean, the other thing you think about is the model. We're using a different. You can use a cheaper model.
So basically, the current, I guess, leader is 11 Labs, is what it seems like a lot of people use for this kind of like text to voice, or for custom text to voice. Is 11 Labs what people are using, and unless you subscribe to like their enterprise where it's kind of cheaper, it's a little bit more expensive. So I just need to figure out how to account and how to structure, like, do you limit the stories, and hopefully you have enough people that don't become an outlier, like those people who like read whatever, want to read like 20 different news stories every month or whatever. um yeah, like the return period, it'd be like 3 to 6 months of somebody subscribing for it to
Hmm.
break even, which I
Hmm.
don't have funding, right? And so I don't know if I want to go into debt on the off chance that I make it past 6 months. So we'll see. So still thinking about it. But yeah, but anyway, so yeah, yeah. I mean, go for it. There's a big enough market for multiple apps in this
Yeah.
space.
The other thing that Anthropic released since last time we talked was Opus 4.7, and that had mixed reviews. Like a lot of people were going back to Opus 4.6 because 4.7 was like not as good, and so I think to what you said earlier, these companies are just churning out releasing so rapidly. I mean, I'm excited for what the world is going to be like a year from now.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. A year ago, I wasn't even using Cloud Code.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's just using basic chat GTP. It's like, I don't know, you know, what stock should I play?
A year ago, me and my co-founder of my app were building in Flutterflow, which is a no-code WYSIWYG tool.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm excited to see, how Claude Design, how they hopefully cheapen it up, because at the current burn rate, it's just not workable for serious use. But I imagine if they could get it up to scale, to me, I guess I'd prefer working through Claude Design versus through Claude Code itself, which to me, I think that would be a huge unlock for vibe coders.
Yeah, I agree. And even at work, um, I'll use the Claude native app if I need to, if I'm working with visuals
Hmm.
versus Claude Code. And so
Yeah,
yes, like that could be like HTML dashboards, and then with design, yes, Cloud Design is better.
yeah,
Cloud Code can do it. It's just not the same experience.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
All right. Well, good episode. TLDR, we didn't talk about OpenClaw, but I think I'm officially going to fire Cami soon because I just don't use Cami anymore.
Yeah, I've sunset my OpenClaw for the time being. So
Yeah. Sad.
yeah, it is kind of sad. I had all these hopes and dreams, but using who needs an orchestration when you're still trying to get a handle of the actual individual, I guess.
Well, I've had two thoughts on mine. One, I may sunset or fire Cami, or two, I may switch Cami to just Anthropic APIs since I don't use Cami as much.
Mm,
And yes, I'll pay for like per billing calls,
mm,
but because I don't use Cami that much, like it may justify it compared to paying $20 a month for OpenAI. So that's my
okay.
thought process there.
All right.
Because I do like some of the things Cami does. It's just
Yeah.
I haven't been able to use OpenCloud because it's dealing with like stupid like under the hood
Yeah.
like API stuff that I just
Yeah.
don't have the time to fix.
Yeah. It's like good. Yeah. It's like good and bad. It's like, it's good that they're constantly improving OpenClaw, but the bad is like it's like, it's a maintenance nightmare if you've done any type of customization. So
Yeah, it's like the product shouldn't break if I'm not making any changes to the product. Like it just broke overnight because they made some changes. I'm just like, that's stupid.
so I might, maybe if they've gotten to like a more stable version where they're kind of like done like with major changes, maybe I'll give it a go again. For now, focus on other things.
All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this episode. We stopped saying it, but it is episode 104. And we'll be back again next week for more stories from the market and stories in AI. Give us a like, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.